Oggi che magnifica giornata.
Hey, Tom, where's the Columbus statue that used to be in Providence? Where is it?
It's hiding in the closet somewhere in North Kingston.
The last we saw, he was hoisted up on a crane and he disappeared overnight.
Yes, I think it was in the summer, right?
It was in the summer. He's gone.
Yeah,
I don't know where he is. The lawyers that took him away by crane. There was no meeting. There was no deliberation. Nothing.
You ain't gonna see Columbus no more.
Because somebody threw paint on him, and they're concerned that Columbus was a lightning rod for controversy. He's been dead about 400 years, but that's all right. He's still a lightning rod. Well, that's some lightning that he carries, isn't it?
That's a big bolt.
So Alorza took away the statue of Columbus. In other cities, he was thrown in the water. He was drowned, strangled, toppled in other cities. Columbus is having a bad year. Well, we're all having a bad 2020, but particularly Columbus. Now comes the One Voice Coalition, which is an Italian-American organization, a national organization. They're very concerned about this because they say, you know what, this is really anti-Italian discrimination. Columbus is an honored and revered figure, and this is rewriting history, and this is basically ridiculous what they're doing to Columbus. And they're demanding the return of the statues. There was no due process. In many instances, this was just an arbitrary decision by a town manager or a mayor, like we had here. Alorza just said get rid of the statue. But there was no due process. There was no back and forth. There was no debate. Columbus is missing. He's gone. Andre DiMino has been on my program many times talking about this and other issues of importance to Italian Americans. Good morning, Andre.
Good morning, Gene.
And I know you're pushing this. You said we're not going to let this stand. The Columbus statue stood for many years, but we're not going to let the disappearance stand. You're filing a federal lawsuit in New Jersey, and you believe that if you prevail, that will be enough to have the return of the Columbus statues across the country. Tell me about it. On what grounds do you believe you might prevail with this federal lawsuit in New Jersey?
Well, you bet, Gene. We filed our first landmark case in federal court. Regarding the return of the Columbus statue in West Orange, New Jersey. But it's just the first one, and it's really our beginning of our approach, which we actually broke the news on your show back in July.
Yep.
We had a legal study group that worked on this and found that Italian Americans are a cognizable racial group, and therefore for a local official to take away a Columbus statue, which is an iconic symbol to Italian Americans, is discrimination against Italian Americans. And that's what we're suing about. And believe me, this we believe could go all the way to the Supreme Court and have all these statues put back.
All right. Now, you put the word out. You had these are attorneys, and you got a lot of them. Some of them are Italian Americans, but some of them are, just attorneys concerned about justice. So you're putting a coalition of lawyers together, and you think you got a pretty good shot of winning this in New Jersey, and that would be a precedent for the rest of us across the country, correct?
Absolutely correct. And, as I said on your show, we do have a great group of attorneys, constitutional attorneys, Italian-American attorneys, and they're a great group, and they've put together all of the precedent here. They put together, this was a lot of research that went into this, and a very, very effective suit that went into federal courts.
Yeah.
And we believe that this will make a big difference.
Okay. Now, all right, let's say you prevail, and there'd be an appeals process. This could take a long time to get up to the Supreme Court, speaking of Ginsburg and everything else. But that's it. There's no other recourse other than the courts and the attorneys, right? This has only just begun.
Well, that's right. And this serves as a warning to all the other places. We tried the rallies, the petitions, the email campaigns, but the local officials, they turned a deaf ear to us. So we had to take this step, and this is now our warning to all these other municipalities.
Right. You take exception to some of the Native American speakers and some of the other people who say Columbus was nothing more than a notorious figure in history and he should not be honored. Just a footnote argument on the other side from Andre?
Not a footnote, but if you go to the actual facts, the reputable sources, and the historical context, you'll see that these people are just spouting false information about Columbus. If I
bring the statue back, and by the way, I'm a big supporter of Columbus and Columbus Day Parade. I march in it.
Yep.
Because he's an important figure to the Italian Americans here, and we've had parades in Rhode Island, 2 of them we have on the same day. That's how important it is to us here. If you prevailed and you had the statue forcibly returned, you know that it'll only be a matter of time before they throw paint on it again. So what do we say? Clean it up again? Clean it up as long as paint? What do we do?
Those are criminal acts, and the local officials shouldn't be derelict in their duties in protecting that statue and all the other statues. Those are criminal acts.
I think what hurt here is that they just summarily took him away. There was no an open forum or debate. I don't know where he is. I don't know what the mayor's done with him. He's got him somewhere in a crane company somewhere. How many cities, to your knowledge, have done this? I'm going to say more than 100, maybe.
No, dozens and dozens across the country. Of course, the vandalism and the criminal acts are one thing, but all of these other officials that took them down, just like you said there locally, took them down without any due course, without any vote, without any public hearing. They just did it under the guise of protecting it. It's the wrong thing to do. They cannot discriminate. Italian Americans are equal. We're not equal.
And I think you're also open to having a debate with anyone on the other side, that you are willing to, you acknowledge that there certainly were transgressions, there certainly was death, there was all the things you say, but in context, you can't say, I negate everything that sprang from Columbus, which is pretty much most of Western civilization that you and I know.
Absolutely. He united the continents. I mean, it was one of the largest acts in history that's changed our world. But at the same time, it's such an important and iconic symbol to Italian Americans as an apology and atonement for all the discrimination and denigration that were witnessed in the late 1800s.
With regard to the one, did you say West Orange?
Yeah, West Orange, New Jersey. West
Orange is about, I'm going to say, as the crow flies, 15, 20 miles outside of New York City. It's by Newark. It's one of the suburbs. What happened there specifically?
Well, what happened there was the mayor unilaterally just quickly said he was taking the monument down. It was a monument that was donated by local Italian Americans in 1992, used each year for their ceremonies and so forth. And then really, without much public comment, he took it down and had it taken away. And it's just the wrong thing to do. And we've targeted that city as really the first city because it was just so blatant.
Right. Well, if you win there, I hope that it'll be a signal to the others. Bring them back. Now, the mayors will tell you, listen, I did it for public safety reasons. Gene, you know what was happening over there. We had one guy threw paint. We had another guy did this. It was only a matter of time. He had to go in the interest of public safety. You say what? Take the last word.
Well, are you going to capitulate to the mob? Because they don't stop. You capitulate there, they just keep on going. They got to stop giving into this mob mentality.
All right, Andre, one of the opening arguments, when is the first foray in this lawsuit that you filed?
Well, it was just filed last week. So we're going to go through the process, and we still open it up to other people around the country. If you're having trouble locally, get your local people in touch with us and let us know, and we will help you.
All right, the case would be in federal court in Newark, which is the jurisdiction. If people want to reach you and they want to know more about this, where do they go?
Go to our website, IAOVC.org. That's our initials, IAOVC.org.
Which stands for Italian American One Voice Coalition, IAOVC.org. Andre DiMino, thanks. Good to hear from you again.
Thank you, Gene. Bye.